I knew something was wrong the moment she said my name. Not softly like she used to, not lovingly, but like it tasted bitter on her tongue. Daniel, we need to talk. Those 4 words are the funeral bells of any relationship, but hearing them 2 days before our wedding felt like a knife twisting slowly inside my chest. The venue was paid for. The guests had traveled. My suit hung in the closet beside her dress. And yet, in that quiet apartment suffocating with unspoken dread, I felt the ground crack under me. I turned toward her. What's going on? Emily wouldn't meet my eyes. Her fingers trembled as she twisted the engagement ring I had given her. Platinum, with a small sapphire she once said reminded her of the ocean where we had first kissed. Now it seemed she couldn't wait to pull it off. There's something you should know, she whispered. Evan, he reached out. My heart stopped. Evan. Her ex. The man she'd promised was just a part of the past. And my voice came out tight. She lifted her eyes, full of guilt, fear, and something else. Something I didn't want to recognize. And I still love him. The words crashed into me like a wave of ice water. I almost laughed at the absurdity, the cruelty of it. Emily, you can't be serious. You want to talk to him. Fine. But we're getting married in 2 days. She shook her head slowly. I'm calling it off. The room tilted. No, I said, stepping forward as if physical closeness could change her decision. Emily, you don't just cancel a wedding because an ex suddenly remembers your name. You and I, we built a life. We planned everything. She finally pulled off the ring, placing it on the table between us like a severed artery. I'm sorry, Daniel. But she wasn't crying. It was 48 hours earlier. We had been choosing music for our first dance. She'd rested her head on my shoulder, humming as she scrolled through the playlist. Everything felt normal, perfect even. Now I replayed those moments, searching for signs I'd missed. Had she pulled away a little too quickly? Had her smile been strained? Had the late-night texting been something more? Maybe I just refused to see it. 48 hours after the breakup, a friend named Mark insisted I leave the apartment. You shouldn't be alone, man, he'd said. Let's get a drink. Somewhere quiet. But heartbreak makes you heavy, like your bones are carved from stone. I couldn't move. I sat on the couch staring at the space where Emily used to curl into me, replaying every memory until my mind felt bruised. Then came the call. My phone buzzed with an unknown number. I almost ignored it. Is this Daniel Hart? A man asked. Yes. This is Officer Ramirez. There's been an accident. My breath hitched. What happened? It's about Emily Brooks. The world froze. There was a collision on Highway 9. Pickup truck ran a red light. She and a male passenger were trapped inside. We're still identifying details, but sorry. Neither survived. Silence. No thoughts. No breath. Nothing. It was like my entire body shut down, as if grief had reached inside and unplugged my soul. She was gone. 2 days after leaving me for her ex. 2 days after shattering my world. Emily's life had been cancelled, as the officer coldly, almost accidentally put it. The funeral. Her parents insisted I attend. I think they wanted to punish themselves by letting the man their daughter abandoned sit in the front row. I walked into the chapel feeling like a ghost, like I shouldn't be there. Her coffin, white with lilies, was too small for someone who once filled entire rooms with laughter. Her mother sobbed into a handkerchief while her father stared straight ahead, face pale and stunned. Evan's family sat on the opposite side, their grief chaotic and loud. I wondered what he had said to her during those last hours. Had she been happy, regretful, scared? Part of me hated him. Part of me pitied him. Part of me hated myself for still loving her. When they invited people to speak, I didn't move. My legs wouldn't respond. Her mother, trembling, walked up to me afterward. She talked about you, she whispered. She regretted hurting you. She said you were a good man. I nodded, unable to speak. But inside me, anger started to simmer. Regret didn't bring her back. Regret didn't fix the wreckage she left behind. And then a thought crept in. Had the accident really been just an accident? The visit. 2 days later, Officer Ramirez called again. "We need you to come in. There's something you should see." His office felt unbearably small. On the desk was a crumpled envelope. "It was found in the wreck," he said. "Addressed to you." My stomach twisted as I reached for it. The handwriting was unmistakably hers. Delicate, looping. Inside was a letter. My hands shook as I unfolded it. A letter. "Daniel, if you're reading this, I don't know what shape our lives are in. Maybe you hate me. You probably should. Evan showed up at my work. I thought I was over him, but when I saw him, all the emotions I had buried came back. I was confused. Panic. I made a decision in fear, not love. But after I left the apartment, I realized something. I made a mistake. Huge one. I don't know how to face you. I don't know how to ask for forgiveness when I don't deserve it. Evan wants me back. He's saying all the things I used to dream he would say. And I am trying to convince myself that choosing him isn't a disaster. But it feels wrong. Feels like I'm running into a burning house just because I once lived there. Daniel, you cared for me in ways I never thought I deserved. You saw me. You chose me every single day. I threw that away. Not because of him, but because I'm afraid of being truly loved. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know who I am right now. But I hope, somehow, someday, you'll understand why I broke the man who never tried to break me. Emily. Tears blurred the ink until her words smeared and dissolved. Officer Ramirez waited quietly. Finally he spoke. "One more thing. The cause of the crash. It wasn't a drunk driver or a runaway truck. The other driver fell asleep at the wheel. It was instantaneous. They never had a chance. No anger. No conspiracy. Just randomness. Cruel, merciless randomness. The world took her as abruptly as she had left me. The apartment. I found myself standing outside our old place, key still in my hand months later. Dust lined the furniture. Her hair tie sat on the coffee table where she'd left it. A half-read book lay face down on the sofa. Everything felt frozen in time, like the world had stopped the second she walked out. I sat down and opened the letter again. Her words echoed inside me. Burning house. Fear of being loved. You chose me every single day. What was I supposed to do, Emily? I whispered into the empty room. How do I mourn someone who broke me before the world broke her? My voice cracked. How do I forgive you when you never came back? Silence answered. But grief is strange. It wraps itself around anger until both blur. I didn't hate her anymore. Couldn't. But I also couldn't pretend love was enough to erase what she'd done. The betrayal had carved a wound that time only partially closed. Yet her death carved another one, messier and deeper, that would never fully heal. The final goodbye. 6 months after the funeral, I visited her grave for the first time. The cemetery was quiet, except for the rustling trees. Her name was etched into cool stone, the dates too close together for a life that should have stretched infinitely further. I knelt, placing the letter on the grave. "I hope you found peace," I said softly. "Even if it cost me mine for a while." My voice steadied. "I loved you. Even when it hurt. Even when you didn't choose me. And maybe that's the real tragedy. That love doesn't guarantee anything. Not loyalty. Not honesty. Not time." A breeze lifted the edges of the letter. "You weren't replaced," I whispered. "You were just unfinished." For the first time the weight inside me loosened. Not gone, never gone, but lighter. As I stood to leave, a strange calm washed over me. Some people break your heart. Some people break your life. Emily had done both. But she also taught me something. Some endings are not betrayals or punishments. They're the universe forcing you onto a path you wouldn't choose but need. And sometimes, love's final act is letting go.